Hi, my name is Brianna Haddon. I'm a licensed behavior specialist from Easter Seals. Today, I'm going to talk about positive reinforcement versus bribery. Bribery is often interpreted as being positive reinforcement. It is important for parents, teachers, and professionals to know the difference between positive reinforcement and bribery. So first, let's talk about positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is one of the main strategies used in ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis. ABA is most commonly known as an evidence-based practice for individuals diagnosed with autism. So now let's define what positive reinforcement is. Positive reinforcement works by presenting a motivating, reinforcing stimulus to a person after the desired behavior is exhibited, making the behavior more likely to happen in the future. So what does that mean? So some examples are a mother gives her son praise, which is the reinforcing stimulus, for doing homework, which is the behavior. So the son is more likely to do his homework in the future because he is receiving praise from his mother. Another example is the little boy receives $5, which is the reinforcing stimulus, for every A he earns on his report card, which is the behavior. For every A that he earns on his report card, he's receiving $5, which will make it more likely for him to receive A's on his report card in the future. Another example is a father gives his granddaughter candy, which is the stimulus, for cleaning up toys. So the child is receiving candy for cleaning up toys, so the child is more likely to clean up toys in the future. I will provide more examples and model positive reinforcement later in this video. So many parents and some professionals miss some key components of the definition of positive reinforcement without even knowing. Adults will sometimes determine what reinforcers to offer the child. They might make assumptions about what is or should be reinforcing. These assumptions are sometimes incorrect. It is important to remember if the behavior doesn't occur more often in the future, then what you used wasn't positive reinforcement. Some common types of positive reinforcement available to increase behavior include social reinforcers, which is praise. You can praise a student. You can positively praise a student by saying, "I like how you're sitting." Another one is tangible reinforcers. Tangible reinforcers can be any toy, fidgets. An activity reinforcer is a preferred activity like water play or bubbles. Token reinforcers are points, coins, or other symbols like lightning McQueen stickers. And these can be traded in for a backup reinforcer, such as a tangible, social, or activity. A natural reinforcer is anything like feeling warm after putting on a jacket, receiving a chip after saying chip. Remember, if the behavior isn't occurring more in the future or increasing, then consider using a different reinforcer. It is also essential to use different reinforcers and switch them around to keep the reinforcer novel. For more information about selecting reinforcers, click on the links below this video. Now I'm going to talk about the difference between positive reinforcement and bribery. Positive reinforcement requires thoughtful planning. Bribery is not planned and commonly used to stop problem behaviors in the moment. Bribery is when a reward is introduced during the problem behavior. The reinforcer becomes the bribe. Here's an example of a bribe. A child elopes from circle. The teacher or parent walks over and says, "Do you want the iPad?" The child goes back to the circle and receives the iPad. In this example, the child goes back to the circle, so it may seem as though this was effective. But in the long run, this will be detrimental to the child because the child will continue to elope from the circle in the future. It may seem like it's a quick fix and the child eventually does do the behavior, but this can build a behavior chain, which is hard to break, which means that the behavior will continue and it could continue to worsen. An alternative to this bribe would be the teacher or parent could state the expectations. First, sit for circle, then iPad. If the child still elopes from the circle, do not give the iPad. Consider using a different reinforcer next time or manipulate the environment. Another thing you could do is, before the problem behavior occurs, give the child choices. For example, do you want to sit in the blue chair or the red chair for circle? What do you want to work for, Thomas the Train or Lightning McQueen? Some of the students we work with may need to be presented with choices using a different response form, such as an augmentative communication device, PECs, as well as sign language. You can use a choice board and have them point to the desired item or physically hold up the objects. Do you want the toy or the apple? Now I'm going to show you a video of an example of positive reinforcement and bribery. Let's see if you can identify the differences. Okay, friends, it's time for circle. It's expected that we're sitting on the rug. First, we're going to go over our schedule, and then we're going to go over the rules. I like how you're sitting so nicely. Here's your ball. Great job. Okay, friends, it's time for circle. It's expected that we're sitting on the rug. First, we're going to go over our rules, and then we're going to go over our schedule. Do you want your ball?
Mm-hmm.
First sit up, then ball. I like how you're sitting up. I hope you enjoyed the examples of positive reinforcement and bribery. Were you able to spot which one was bribery and which one was reinforcement? The first video was positive reinforcement. It was positive reinforcement because I gave the ball after the child exhibited the desired behavior, which was sitting on the rug. The second example was bribery because the child laid on the floor and I gave the reinforcer after he exhibited a problem behavior by laying on the floor. Now I'm going to show you a chart that shows you the difference between positive reinforcement and bribery. So here is a chart showing you examples and the differences between reinforcement and bribery. So here you can see that reinforcement, the adult is in control, versus bribery, the child's in control. Reinforcement is given immediately following the desired behavior, versus bribery is given when the child is engaging in the problem behavior. For reinforcement, the child chooses the positive reinforcement they are working for. So you can give them choices. You can say, do you want to work for the ball or do you want to work for the toy? Versus bribery is used as a tactic to stop the problem behavior. As you saw in my example, the child was laying on the floor and I asked them if he wanted the ball. That was a bribe because I used it as a tactic to stop him from laying on the floor. Reinforcement changes problem behavior to desired behavior. So you're reinforcing the desired behavior. Versus bribery increases problem behavior in the future. Reinforcement is used as a teaching tool, and bribery is used as a quick fix. It may seem effective because the behavior will stop, but the problem behavior will continue to start or increase. Reinforcement encourages expected behavior. Bribery encourages problem behavior. So here are some examples of reinforcement. When the child sits nicely for a snack, they receive their favorite toy. And here are other examples. An example of bribery here is child is screaming. Parent, if you stop screaming, I will give you a donut. Another example is the child elopes from the dinner table. The parent says, do you want a cookie? Child says, yes. Then the parent says, sit down for dinner and you will get a cookie. So this chart will be in the link below this video if you would like to view it at a later time. Thanks so much for listening to my video on reinforcement and bribery. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.